Hello again guys, and welcome back to Big Al's Big Axe. And as you can see, the axe is finished. This, believe it or not, is a Dane axe. It's a little on the short side. It's just a little over 3 foot in length. God knows what it weighs. The blade length is 8 inches. And it is razor sharp. I can attest to that because in one of these videos that if you go look around my channel, when I'm assembling the blade, I lightly shave my finger across the blade in here in this room, and I actually nearly cut my little finger off. You probably can't see it on there, but I've got quite a nasty scar across my finger, and that was about a month and a half ago. I literally could see my tendon in my finger, and I could see the bone. This thing did a lot of damage with no force whatsoever. So this thing is a deadly weapon, and it's an historical recreation of the Viking and Anglo-Saxon shared weapon called the dane axe. The dane axe for you guys, and the reason why I'm topless is so that I can look proper Viking and proper Celtic for you guys and show you how scary it would be having a 20-stone man like myself behind an axe that's coming at you like this. This thing does a lot of damage, has a lot of intimidation factor and a lot of fear factor, and even if you don't get afraid by it, the axe blade will do more enough to instill that fear into you. Because why were these axes used? And first of all, what I want to say is that Big Al's Big Axe, this has been a constructive process, and following this introduction you will see brief parts. I can't show you all of it because obviously when I'm hammering and chiseling and I'm doing everything, I can't have the camera off them where I am, because either it's too dark or it's too inconvenient to put the camera there, or every time I hammer the camera falls over because of the force of the hammering, and I can't hold it, or if I do position it sometimes and I'm trying to do it in a way that you can see on camera, basically I'm risking my fingers, and I've already almost cut off my finger once. I'm not going to do it again, okay? But you can see there the beautiful pattern welded finish that I have on my steel, high carbon steel axe head there. So this is what is commonly but mistakenly called Damascus steel, but this is pattern welded steel. Okay, very hard to manufacture, but I got a smith locally to myself over in Nottinghamshire in England, where Robin Hood is from, to forge me this to my own design specifications. So I sent him, I want this shape axe head, I want this to be 8 inches long, and so on and so forth, and he built it for me. And it took him about 3 weeks to forge it and get it over to me, and it's an amazing blade. I've used it already outside on a tree by pure chance. I didn't think, oh yes, finally my axe head is made, because I finished making this axe head roughly, not the axe head, sorry, the axe itself. I finished making it about 3 days ago. It's not like I thought, oh, I want to go use it and find out what it's like. Let's go cut down a tree. There was a tree in my back garden that needed some work doing on it, and the tool axes, I took them out there to start off with, because I didn't really want to use this really more than anything else. It was more of a display piece and something to practice my martial arts with, because it's obviously been custom built. It fulfills all the specifications that I want from my own personal dane axe, and I'll get into them, the details of why I have certain features on here that I do, but obviously I took this out there because I was struggling to get through with my cutting axes, with my normal sort of one-handed choppers and stuff, and I took one swing with this and the thing went down. The branch just came straight off. It was a living tree, so you can imagine they're so resistant. Living trees are, especially when they're hardwood trees, are very hard to cut into, because they're still kind of like, it's the moistness of it, and they're not dry wood. You cut into it and it's almost like cutting into sinew. It's very difficult, very resistant, but this thing got through it in a couple of swings. The first swing was I was a bit scared of using this, obviously having cut my hand on it, so I was like, oh, that's quite good. and took the whole thing off. So it's been a very, very, very good finish. You'll see, I thought I was going to wait to show you the axe until the end of the video, but I know some of you guys might not want to see how the axe was put together, how the haft was put in, some of the work processes, and because a lot of the manufacturing processes that I used with this, I couldn't film well, you know, in a manner that is entertaining at least to you guys, if not easy to view. Sometimes it's hard to see what I'm doing because my video, in my opinion, was not of a high enough quality for you guys of manufacturing. I'm happy to show you the axe now rather than at the end of the video, and if you want to skip the rest of it, then feel free, guys. But this is my dane axe. I'll give you the specifications. Okay, so dane axes traditionally ranged from 3 foot long, which is 36 inches, 5.5 foot long. Okay, 5 foot is so roughly 67 inches long. I have a 5.5 foot long dane axe already, and the blade on that is 10 inches, so it's about 2 inches longer than this on the cutting edge. And if you've seen my video on how to fight with a dane axe, I use that particular axe in that example. It was during that day, during the filming, that I realised, and during using the axe on other days other than that, you can see how sharp that is. You can see the edge. Whoa, beautiful, isn't it? But it was during that I decided that I wanted to create my own axe, my own dane axe that was fill my specifications. Now, if I was going back in time, and I was going to be, if I knew I was going to be in a shield wall, at the back of the shield wall, I would take most definitely my bigger axe, because one, it's longer. So, you know, if I'm going up against someone with a sword, they've got no chance of getting close to me, because my weapons at least 2, if not 3 times as long as theirs, if not longer. They don't stand a chance. They ain't gonna get close to me. Second of all, I can hide at the back of the or in the second or third line of the shield wall. All my brothers there with their shields and swords, or swords and sea axes, as they would probably be back then, or spears, trying to stab each other and all that. And when we just want to try and create a hole in the enemy's shield wall, if they form the shield wall themselves, say I'm a Viking and they're an Anglo-Saxon household, I'd come in and just go whack over the top of the shield wall and try to break some shields or break some heads. Seeing, is that, yeah, that's staying correctly. Whoops, nearly decapitating myself then. But so I would take the long axe in that case, simply because of the extra length would allow me to remain safer, easier. But I wouldn't be swinging the axe like ha 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 ha. I wouldn't be constantly hacking at the enemy. Whereas this is an axe that I would use in one-on-one combat, or when, say for example, if I knew I was going into more of a skirmish rather than a full-fledged battlefield scenario. And if I found myself where I'm going to be taking on 1 or 2 opponents at a time, I would definitely want to use this instead. The reason as such, because it's only just over 3 foot, it's about 3.5 foot long, just under 3.5 foot long. So it's the smallest, it's still a dane axe, but it's a very short dane axe. The smallest a dane axe can be is 36 inches to be classified as a dane axe. This is about 39 inches, so it's over the limit, but it is towards the bottom end. But the reason I wanted it short was so that it was nimble and allowed me to perform certain moves, especially with the haft, which were a lot harder to do on bigger axes, simply because when I haven't got enough room here and I don't want to hit my PC, but when I'm swinging around like that, that's actually really hard to do on a big axe. But on a small axe, even though I haven't got a lot of room, I'm still, you can see I can quite easily do it. So, and that's me sitting down, trying to not hit the PC, the wall, the light, you know, everything, and I can still swing it round. One of the reasons why it took me so long to get a film on how to fight with a dane axe. If you guys watch how to fight with a dane axe, you'll notice I'm out of breath pretty much the whole way through the video. That's not because I'm unfit. I'd quite willingly be out of breath anyway. Probably it wouldn't be a problem me being out of breath during the film anyway, because one, it's a big heavy axe that I'm swinging around, and two, it's surprisingly tiring swinging that axe around. But it actually took me about 2.5 hours to get that video, because one, I don't take my videos, I don't edit my videos as such. I do them all in one take. So what I'm doing now, I'm talking to you, it's non-scripted, so I've got to get in all the facts that I need to get in, and if I forget, tough luck, refilm it, okay? Because I haven't got the video editing skills basically to be able to snap in something very easily. So consequently, I was outside swinging, and occasionally I'd mess up a move, or more to the point, the axe head would get caught on like the washing line, or it would hit something that it shouldn't hit, and I didn't want that on the video, because even though it's part and parcel of learning how to use an axe like that, is that well, you need spatial awareness. I wanted it to be about how good the axe can be rather than its limitations, and the axe that I was using was 5.5 foot long, and a 5.5 foot long dane axe was possible and was used in the battlefield. And as I say, if I had a choice between this and the 5.5 foot one, and I knew I was going in a shield wall, I'd take the 5.5 foot one. Why not? But typically they were used, especially as men were typically a little bit smaller back then, but they would be used ceremonially only. So if you were like, I don't know, like the King's Guard or something, you'd have your big axes because it looks impressive, but you'd go to battlefield with one of these probably instead, or something just a little bit longer than this, maybe something about 4 foot. And that's what I'm going to talk about now, how my axe making process has evolved over time. So you know the dimensions of a dane axe, you know what it's used for. I've briefly described it there. A dane axe is a Viking and Anglo-Saxon weapon, so they was found within both cultures. And basically any culture that used a shield wall would have a dane axe within it. That would be used by the elites of their society, the big strong men who have made their money and proved themselves on the battlefield basically. And it was a symbol of prestige also. So even if you were born bigger than that and you were a peasant, if you couldn't fight and you didn't have the right blood, it didn't matter, you weren't allowed to hold one of these. This was a symbol of prestige. This was a symbol that you were important within society, as well as anything else, because it is an effective weapon, and a hard to make weapon as well, as you'll see. But it's not that hard actually. It's easier than making a sword, but it's a hard to make weapon for an axe, and there's a lot of steel in it. As you can see, the amount of steel in that axe head compared to a smaller axe is considerable. I mean, there's as much steel in that as there is a very kind of short sword. So I mean, it's an expensive weapon to produce. But without going into that kind of detail, as I say, most of the time you would take a shorter axe, okay? And the reason why I sort of edited out a lot of the not edited out, but then kept refilming how to fight with the dane axe until I got it perfect, was because this to me is what a dane axe is, not the other thing. That's a ceremonial version of a dane axe, or it's a dane axe for someone who's near, 6'6", 6'7". I'm only 6'3". I'm a little bit too short for that axe, okay? Whereas this axe, I'm probably a little bit too tall for. But I can use this and do all the sort of attacks and defensive techniques that I would want to do and perform on the battlefield or in one-on-one combat. I could do all of that with this with no problem whatsoever, and not struggle, as you can see, whatsoever. I'm not trying to worry, oh, where's my hands? Okay, because there are certain points on the 5.5 foot dane axe where if my hands weren't in the right position and I did that swing, it kind of got, it's hard to do on this, but it'd be almost like doing like that. It'd be like it got stuck, or it didn't come round right. Okay, so I had to learn where to put my hands on that one. Whereas this, as you can see, other than being stupid and putting my hands up here together, pretty much everything works very easily. I can come and attack pretty much from any angle, no matter where my hands are. I can even go like that and all that, you know. So this feels a lot more nimbler than the other one, and that now gets me on to the reasons as to why I created this axe instead of just sticking with my more ceremonial axe. The features that I wanted in it, I wanted it shorter. I didn't know exactly what height, so I was thinking 4 foot. That was the height that I was thinking of. I wanted a 4 foot long dane axe, so I thought that would be about right. I'm just underneath that. Okay, so I've lost a little bit of the height that I wanted on it, but it's still long enough to count as a dane axe, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, in fact, I like this length. I think it's actually worked out for the best. I wanted to bottom haft it, and if you're seeing my manufacturing process, bottom hafting an axe head that is slightly defective inside the eye, because the eye of the axe head was, I mean, you can see, I haven't tidied it up yet, but the eye of the axe head, there was a lot of sort of pig iron in there and stuff. There was a lot of, it wasn't a smooth edge on the inside of the eye of this axe head, and so hafting it was, oh my god, it was difficult. It took a huge amount of effort on my part, and it was knackering. It took all my strength literally to get this into here, and I didn't know if it was going to be possible or not. I thought that I might actually have to send the axe head back, but the pig iron came out eventually, with a lot of chiseling and hammering and filing and things like that, and I'm really happy with it as a result, because it's got a really super tight fit. But it is top hafted, as you can see. I've wedged it here. This is messy, guys. Don't judge me on my work on here. But I've got a top haft here that I've wedged, and it fills the eye completely. Okay. But don't judge me on the messiness there, because I need to clean that up. This was only made a few days ago. However, everything else of it is ready. I might put some paracord around here, because when you swing, if you miss, quite commonly what you're swinging at, which will probably be a tree these days, will clip the haft here, and you don't want any damage going onto the wood. So if I put some paracord around there, that would protect it against any misses, any near misses that sort of go underneath the blade, and would stop this from shattering so easily, even though it's not going to happen very easily. I mean, you get a sword and hit this, you'll bite into it, but you're not going to do enough damage to make it where it's going to break. You have to hit this with a sword good probably 12 times in the same spot before, and even then, no, I don't. I mean, it depends on what sword you're hitting it with, you know. A big sword, yeah, and I was bracing it maybe about half a dozen times. You might do enough damage where you start to worry about it, but this would still possibly be a functional weapon, and that's why I like it, because it would be able to parry and deflect attacks that are coming in with the wooden aspect of the weapon. The wood itself is made out of hickory, so it's about 39 inches long. The blade is 8 inches long, the cutting edge. That way is roughly 12 inches, if I remember. I can't quite remember. It's pattern welded steel. The haft itself is hickory, faithful hickory, which is a very flexible hardwood, and it's probably the best wood to use for axe hafts. It has then been wood stained by myself, and then over that wood stain I put a varnish over the top, just to protect the wood against weather, essentially. This is England. It's not exactly a sunny country, so if I take this out, chances are there's going to be some moisture in the air, if not completely raining, and so the steel I can protect with, obviously, with oils and stuff, but the wood would be something that over time could rot, and so I've protected it with all those lacquers and all that work Now, the only imperfections that you can see are the odd little black part here. That's me That's me sort of with a rasp shaping the wood. I wanted a slightly curved aspect to the wood, so I have filed here just to add a little bit of a curve, and same around here somewhere. I tried to make it so it was ergonomic to the grip, so that it wasn't round, but it was more oval. So I've made it more oval than it was when it came. So I've modified the haft a little bit to make it more ergonomic and easier to hold, because obviously building the axe outside the big one, that's got a round haft, and it's actually very hard to work out blade orientation. Here I know exactly where the blade is. I know, bang, there we go, now it's straight. So I can feel where the blade is by holding the handle, because the handle has been orientated with the blade. Okay, but with the more ceremonial dane axe I have, the 5.5 foot dane axe I've got, you have a round haft there, and that is so hard. One, to work out where the blade orientation is. You get used to it, but it is harder. But it's tiring on the grip. It actually makes it harder to hold on to, and the fact that it's a heavy weapon anyway, that's not a good thing. You don't want something that's hard to hold anyway being made even harder to hold, simply because of its shape. So I made the grip on this, on all areas, as easy to hold as possible, but without taking away strength from the integrity of the wood. Obviously, the wood is actually thicker than if I'd had bottom hafted it. I did have a shaft or haft of wood that I could have used to bottom haft this with. As I say, I couldn't do it because of the eye of the axe head was too imperfect to get it through. I'm going to use that as a practice axe. It's 4 foot long, and it has no axe head on it, so I'm going to use that actually to practice axe fighting techniques, but with the complete knowledge that I'm not going to, if I make a mistake, cut myself or cut someone else. Okay, so it makes it completely safe to use. I can also practice basic quarterstaff techniques, and that's something that, just so you guys know, I'm actually learning quarterstaff fighting techniques, because an axe is a quarterstaff. Well, it's not a quarterstaff, but it's a stick with an axe head on the end. A quarterstaff is just a really big stick. So certain quarterstaff fighting techniques could be taken and applied to axe fighting techniques. So if a quarterstaff says you can defend like this, you can do the same with an axe. It's just you've got less to defend with, right? If it says you can attack by going boom, well, that of course is an attack that you would use with an axe. The fact that that's a quarterstaff technique, in theory, it's a shared technique, isn't it? I don't know why, but that camera makes that look rotten, but it's not. It's actually a really nice colour, just where a lot of the varnish accumulated. But yeah, so overall, guys, that's my axe. I hope you like it. It's taken a long time to make. I will do how to fight with it. So my how to fight with a dane axe video is actually very popular, got a lot of views, and I'm hoping to get the same sort of viewership on this next video that I do with this, and that's how to fight with a real dane axe. Okay, and that is one that you've made yourself for your body, that custom made dane axe, you know, which takes advantages of what you want from it. Otherwise, guys, if you're interested in how I made this, please stay on here. There's probably about another 20 minutes probably worth of footage that you can watch of me hammering and chiseling. You're not going to learn a massive amount, but you know, you might learn something, and you can certainly put in any questions that you have within the comment section on how I made this. If you've got any suggestions also in the future about bottom hafting this, because one day the haft might break. I hope it doesn't, but it might break. I will want to try and bottom haft it, and because the eye is no longer impure, it has been broken into, you know, it has been made into a workable size now. I would possibly be able to bottom haft this in a future date. So if you've got any advice, please feel free to share it on there also in the comment section. If you want to talk to me about anything, again, comment section is the best place to get me. And I'll see you, or Instagram, add me on Instagram, and I'm normally quite talkative on there, to some degree at least anyway, although it is a private account. So send me a message first saying I've seen your YouTube video and I'll definitely add you then. If not, I might not add you because I might think, well, that's a bit of a stalker, because I've had problems on Instagram before, haven't we all, with stalkers and all the rest of it. So I hope you like my axe, guys. I love it. I'm so happy with it. It's been a long, hard process, but we've got there, and I hope I've educated you there. If you didn't know the history of the Dane axe, giving you a little bit of an indication as to what it is. I will do a focus video on what the Dane axe is, and that will actual video the Dane axe, and talk about giving dates and years and actual real facts of when it was used historically, sort of written down. Dane axe was used by this berserker on such a, whatever. I'll have hopefully some facts and details to give you on a more in-depth and detailed video regards Dane axes at one point in time. But just bear with me, guys, because I've been very busy at the moment with work and stuff, so it's hard to get these videos out in record timing, but they are coming. I'll see you soon, guys. Enjoy the manufacturing processes if that's what you like. If you've already gone, bye-bye. And if you're about to leave, I'll see you soon. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye-bye. Hello again, guys. Welcome back to Big Al's Big Axe, and this is where you see me making my very own custom-made Dane axe. Now, I haven't made everything on the Dane axe myself. One, I'm not a blacksmith, so I can't work with steel. But I had a smith over in Nottingham, or Nottinghamshire, over here in England, forged me a pattern welded axe head that is so goddamn sharp, it is scary. This axe is scarily sharp. I don't know if I actually have the video, so if I do, I will put it up in the bloopers section at the end of this video, and it will be on another video as well, the video that I was filming for at the time. But I accidentally caught my little finger on the edge of that blade, and I mean, it was ever so slightly fraction of a tap. I happened to be picking up the blade like so. My hand caught the table, so my hand stopped. The blade continued, and it basically cut half my little finger off, which I've had to have stitches on to get fixed. So it was a pretty grotesque injury. So this axe head is very dangerous, very sharp, and historically very accurate. I'm very, very pleased with him. The eye is about so big, you can see the light going through it. Okay, and I've got to try and fit it in theory into this haft. That was the theory. This haft would have been very good, but I might actually use that haft as a quarterstaff or quarterstaff equivalent. Well, practice basic quarterstaff techniques or axe techniques. I use it as a training axe because basically it's proving too hard to cut that wood to match the eye of this axe head. But don't worry, there is still hope. Somewhere, I don't know where I've put it. Oh, there it is. I do have another haft here. It's a little bit shorter, so that was going to be 4 foot long. That haft there is 4 foot long. I already have a Dane axe that is 5.5 foot long, and 4 foot to me seemed just a little bit shorter to make it a little bit more wieldy, a little bit more nimble, and better for one-on-one combat. Worse, yes, for a shield wall because it makes it harder to reach through and hit people in front of you, but you know, we're not on medieval battlefields anymore, and I'm not a reenactor, okay? But if I happen to be behind a shield wall, I would want the longest Dane axe that I possibly could, because the length of those things is quite immense, and it predated the pole axe as far as I'm aware. It was really the first of its kind, really. It was a sort of a preliminary pole axe in many respects. But I'm going to be doing it with this haft here. This haft here is a wee bit on the short side. It is a two-handed axe, but it's the shortest that historical Dane axes have been found to be, and that is 36 inches, 3 foot. Okay, so it's going to be quite a short Dane axe. In fact, it's going to be the shortest it can count as a Dane axe, otherwise it's just like a bearded axe or whatever. but it would still qualify as a dane axe with this length. I've already started cutting into the wood, as you can see, to try and get this eye over the top of the wood. It is going to be top hafted, and the reason why I loved, watch what I'm doing here, I do not want that blade anywhere near me. Okay, the reason why I can't use this haft is this haft is designed to be bottom hafted, and the eye is struggling to get over the bottom of the haft, not alone the top of the haft. And that means I've done a lot of work on it. As you can see, I've cut into it, I've shaved it, I've sandpapered it, and I'm still nowhere near. Now, obviously, if I gave myself a year to do this, I could shave this wood down enough, or even less than that, to get a really good fit for the axe and have a 4 foot long dane axe. However, I would worry about the strength of the wood. The wood would be quite thin, whereas the wood on this is I must admit, it feels so much stronger than the wood in that haft there, and that's what I want. I want safety first. So I've got a nice strong haft here, and the axe head will be going on very nicely onto the back here, and that will be how it will look, so to speak. I'm sorry about the video being a little bit disjointed, like you can't trying to fit everything into the screen, but guys, this will be an immense project once it's done, because I want to show you just how much damage this thing can do against a tree in my back garden that needs cutting down or something, or you know, something along those lines, right? Or if I can get some ballistic gel or something, or even some chainmail. Guys, if you've got any chainmail you want me to test it against, please send it to myself, contact myself to organise delivery, and we'll sort it out. But this will be an immense axe. I'm terrified of it already. It's already injured me, the user, the wielder, and it's shown me to respect this at all times. It goes away, it's hidden away very much behind a lot of padding, and behind a lot of stuff, basically make sure that no one can trip on this by mistake. It is dangerous as anything, so until it's hafted and actually as a result very visible, it is staying hidden away. So the stages that I'm going to be doing, if I put the blade over there and remember that it's there, I'm not going to go in detail what I'm going to be doing now, but I'm just going to briefly summarise what I'm going to be doing. But I'm not going to be showing you it. I'm just going to describe it process by process. So I've got a wood chisel and I've got sandpaper. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top of this axe, where the axe head will go, I'm going to thin it out so the eye of the axe can go over the top. I'll then place the axe head as low down onto that as I possibly can, with the best fit that I possibly can, with obviously the axe aligning with the side of the haft, and then I will wedge the wood that is remaining with metal and wooden wedges that I have available elsewhere, to make sure that then the axe head cannot come off the top of the axe. It's the modern way of making axes, it's not the historical way. The historical way is bottom hafting, and in the historical way they didn't use wedges either, so they literally just hammered their axe head on a tapered piece of wood that is thin at one end, thick at the other end, and use that to sort of hold the axe head on. You know, the fact that they literally would have to split the wood to go over. But I am not skilled enough a carpenter to do that, and I will acknowledge and witness that I am not a good enough carpenter to do that. That's something maybe I can do at a later stage, bottom hafting. But top hafting at the moment is something that does work for me. It's something I've done before. I have made an axe top hafting it before, which I'll show you an example of at another time. And it's a throwing axe, actually, a Francisca throwing axe. And it is solid as anything. So if I can make that as solid as the Francisco I made, yeah, my Dane axe, then we will have no worries whatsoever. Okay, so the first thing I'll do is I'll chisel down on here on the edges of the wood that I don't want, and take it off. Essentially, I'll be cutting the wood off. You can use a saw, but hammer chisel is what I like to do. You hammer the chisel in, It's a little bit fiddly, but it's doable. And obviously sandpaper is always useful to just round off the edges. And then we take the hammerhead, we place it in, the haft into it, as so. The hammerhead will be on the ground, and then we hammer the haft into the axe head. And that's basically how it's done. It's quite a simple process. And then once that's done, we then finish the fix of the axe with wedging. And I will be doing this all with welding gloves because I do not want to cut my finger off again or come close to it. Right then guys, thanks for watching. It's a quick update. Things are progressing and moving. I'll see you soon. Show you guys that's what the chisel will do. It will just, if you're going kind of with the grain, you will just literally just go straight through it. I took two, maybe three heavy hammer strikes, and it actually cracked it down there, which was a bit surprising. I've never had that happen before where it cracks so much. But what I'll do is I'll remove that excess wood that I don't want, and it will then fit hopefully into the axe, and then I just need to fill that wood up ultimately with wedges and stuff, so it hammers on, grips nice and tightly onto the axe head. So we're getting there. That literally only took about 10 seconds. Particularly healthy there guys, but that's all cut now. I don't use saws, you see, so I try to do everything with draw knives, chisels and things like that, and I find chisels are one of the quickest ways to create an axe haft to your shape. Now that does need a lot of sanding, and safety first. I just think there were going to be a few splinters when I took that off, but that is almost ready to fix the axe head on. In fact, actually I'm going to see if the axe head fits. Where did I put that thing? Where did I put that very dangerous thing? Oh, I know. So this is just testing with the axe haft. Is anywhere close yet to fitting in the bottom of that axe haft? And answer is, well, yes it is, but it still needs just a little bit extra, and I can do that with sanding. By the time I do that, I've carved off a little bit too much wood, in my opinion. It is frustrating. I was hoping only to go down where the wedge was, because that's going to be a weak part of the wood there. But we'll see what we can do, guys. Guys, a quick update. A good craftsman never blames his tools, and I will not swing that axe on that piece of wood that I've done. It split. That axe split so badly down it made me question its integrity. I don't know if it was a weak grain or whether I just got lucky with the strike of the chisel. I've never known it. Normally it takes me about an hour to get through it with the chisel when I'm doing it properly, and it took me like 15 seconds that time. So I have another haft, but it's curved, and I actually like that. It looks really nice. This will not be a Dane axe now as such, so it's changing. Big Al's big Dane axe to Big Al's big axe, whatever. It's going to be more like a really big bearded axe, which is essentially what it is anyway. It's a two-handed, one-on-one axe designed for historical context, for one-on-one combat, mano a mano, and it can be very easily used in a shield wall, in sort of in replacement for a Dane axe. I mean, if you ended up being sent back in time to the Vikings and they said we need another man in the shield wall, they're not going to complain with you with one of these behind them going, well, it's curved, so it's not strictly a Dane axe, because most Dane axes had straight hafts. They're not going to quibble and question over little details like that. So I've already marked up where the wood needs to be cut. I don't know if you can see it. There it is, and I'm going to chisel away at it. See you soon. And then guys, much happier with the results on that. So basically what I did is I cut it at an angle, so that will actually help with top mounting it regards keeping it tight at the bottom, and then wedging it at the top will keep it tight at the top. This will be a really nice axe to use. I'm just making sure first of all that I've cut it on the right side. Imagine if I cut it on the wrong side. Oh, that would be embarrassing, but no, luckily I haven't. So there you can see pre-sawn. I haven't done that myself. You can do it yourself, not a problem. But pre-sawn is where the space where the wedge will be going. But I need to put the axe head over the top of this first. Yeah then guys, so fitting the haft into the axe head. I've tested it, it will fit a little bit. It's not the perfect fit yet, but it will be when I'm finished. This is normally a little bit of trial and error, and you have to, the hardest part is making sure that it goes in at the correct angle, okay? But it's not the hardest thing getting the haft into it, it's just doing it at the right angle, because you're doing it from above. You get one view of it, but you need to look at it from the side also. And this is going to take a little while, possibly not too long, I hope. I really need to try and fix the axe head down there at the front a little bit for me to continue doing that properly. But look, you can already see you can take the weight of the axe head. So we're getting there. We're getting there, and I'm also scratching the floor. So I'm just going to put some cardboard down. I'm going to weigh this down here somehow. I'm going to finish the job, and I'll be back with you in just a short while. Guys, so it's going well. I've changed the alignment of the haft going into the axe a little bit as I'm going on, but as you can see, it holds the axe head very, very easy. I'm 6'3", and as you can see, just so it drops off and cuts my foot off, it's taking it very easily. I want to keep it in an alignment that I'm happy with personally, but one of the things that is stopping me getting the axe head, that's the wood part, sorry, not the axe head, the haft, the axe, that's the wooden part, through the axe head, through the eye of the axe head, the hole in the axe, is that there's a bit of pig iron, I assume, or there's some scrap iron left inside. You probably can't see it. No, you can't really see it, but there is a bit of iron in there. So what I'm going to do, just to make things a little bit easy, I mean, it's just the fact that it's been custom forged for me, is I'm just going to file it out a little bit with a round file like this and see where we go. It's a bit of experimentation as we go along, but here, I'm hoping. I can't turn the axe off. Health and safety first. Goggles, mask, everything. I've tried to file out a little bit and it's working, and I've noticed there's lots of little sort of tiny little flecks of iron coming off exactly where I need it to come off for me to be able to get the haft through a little bit easier. What I'm going to do just to protect the wood is I'm going to moisten it up a little bit with some white spirit. So I'm going to pour it down the eye of the axe. So I'm going to pour it down the eye of the axe, okay, which will, I'm hoping, help me get rid of some of the iron. I don't think it will, but it will certainly protect the wood against the file. I don't want the wood getting damaged too much. So, Thor's Anvil strikes again. Get the fucking mask on. Oh no. There we go. Ah! Come on. What's going on? So I can build a bloody axe, but I can't get the fucking face mask on. What the hell is going on? For some reason that's gone super tight, and I don't quite know why. Is it the safety goggles? Is it my glasses? Oh, bear with me 1 second, guys. Already. Can't even get the glove on.
That's a bit too much. Oops. Right, poured a bit too much in there. But we're getting there. A good job. Okay. I'm just going to do this for a little bit, guys, because it's going to be tiring. But that's what I'm doing essentially. I'm just grinding the edges down just a little bit. Just on that. Just going to hammer it, guys. If it doesn't work, I'll have to take the haft out and work something out. Slowly, slowly, it is getting in. So I'll keep going. Slowly, slowly going in. Keep going. Progress, guys, but as you can probably see from the sweat on my brow, I am absolutely knackered. I
I've been going at this for a long time, and I have gotten about roughly a third of the way through the axe. The axe, however, looks mighty. It looks really, really good so far, but obviously, as you can see, what it needs to do is come to about here. So I've got about that much wood, to get through. Okay, so roughly 2 fingers, just over 2 fingers worth of wood to hammer down on. Now, the reason the axe is struggling to go further down is 2 reasons. One, the eye on the axe isn't perfectly machined. It was handmade, so it's not fantastic. There is pig iron in there acting as an obstruction, and I've stuck files down there, metal files in there, and I'm trying to bash my way through them, and I think I'm doing it successfully, but it's slowing things down. The other reason is, as you can see, I did cut the wood at an angle, and I can do something for that. For that, I can rasp the wood a little bit and take a little bit of wood away. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'd rather not do this on film, because it's simply because of how sharp the axe is, rather than nothing else. So I'm resting the axe haft on my leg to try and give it a steady finish. So sorry, steady foundation. And if I can just rasp the wood, ow, just got my finger. Just rasp the wood just a little bit, just to take away a little bit of the thickness there. What it does is it will mean that there'll be less wood in here, which is a shame, because it's nice. The more the wood, the stronger the bond. Okay, stronger the between the axe head and the haft. But obviously, without a machine press, I don't want to. I've got to do this by hand, and if I can't press this wood in, or it's going to take ages, one way of speeding it up is to take away some of the wood that's obstructing our entry. Okay, so I think I've done enough there already, just a little bit. I'll see you soon. The axe is fully hafted now. It's taken many hours of hammering it, and I'm absolutely knackered. The bottom of the shaft has been sanded by myself just a little bit, just to repair any damage done by the hammer, because it is bottom hafted, sorry, top hafted, this axe. The wedges will now go into the wood here and here, just to try and help fill up any gaps